What's going on, guys? Dropadooski here. So today I want to go over the HOTA barb for patch 2.6.1 for season 12, the upcoming season on Diablo 3. Now today we had some big changes on the PTR. A lot of buffs went out for a lot of different classes. I was going to do this build video last week, but I decided to wait because I knew we were going to get something else, and I was hoping that the barb was going to get more love, and it did today. In the previous iteration of the PTR, the Immortal King set damage bonus from the 6-piece was at 750%. Today they doubled that, so we now get 1500% increased damage when both of those abilities are active. This means that HOTA, as strong as it was before, I think in the previous PTR cycle it had pushed 109, is now even stronger than it was. And this will also buff a couple other builds, including like the Furious Charge Barb and other things that utilize IK. But for now, we're gonna stick with HOTA and go over this build because it's a very, very fun build to play. HOTA was around a long time ago, and I'm really looking forward to playing it next season. I think I'm gonna be maining Barb and Witch Doctor as a secondary because I really like the buffs that I've seen there. So let's jump over, and as you can see in the background, I am doing 100 with this barb with the current setup that I'm gonna show you guys. I do not have a great gear. One of my weapons is not ancient. I do have a significant amount of paragons, but I think once this is fully optimized, it could go way higher than it currently has on the PTR leaderboards. So let's jump over to the gear. So with this build, you are utilizing the 6-piece bonus from IK, as I had talked about before. So this is now 1500%, as you can see there on the 6-piece bonus. And Hammer of the Ancients is your primary damage output. So you're going to want HOTA damage on both your helm and your feet. Now your perfect helm would have 6% crit, Hammer of the Ancients, and strength. This is not a perfect helm. It was actually set up for something else in the past, so kind of using what I have here on the PTR. This build is also using all the other items that were buffed for HOTA in the previous cycles. So Bracers of the First Man got a significant buff. I believe it was doubled in the past patch. So as you can see on the passive here, Hammer of the Ancients deals attacks 50% faster and deals up to 500% increased damage. A lot of variations of this, you're going to want to throw that in the cube and wear strong arm bracers. I also like this variation I'm running because it's more tanky and it's easier to survive, especially when you don't have your gear fully optimized. So what you can do is wear the Bracer of the First Men and then cube Aquila for the current setup that I'm running, but the alternative variation is wearing strong arm bracers here and cubing Bracers of the First Men because you do have a stomp that's pulling things in that procs the strong arm bracers damage buff. So also you're going to be wearing the Fury of the Ancients shoulders, which gives you the Ancient's Fury rune for free, and that gives you the ability to also take together as one, which is the 50% damage reduction. When you're standing still, you're utilizing the 100% damage buff from the T-Pledge Compass Rose set, but you're also a lot more vulnerable. That's why I like to take the Aquila variation and also utilize the T-Pledge damage reduction when necessary by charging through mobs and kind of getting that movement speed up. So outside of that, you're going to be using the Convention of the Elements, and this is based on fire. So when the fire rotation rolls around, you want to plant yourself in an Oculus ring and just go to town with the hammer, and you will see big crits, and it will be smashing yellows, smashing density, especially when area damage procs. The weapons here, instead of you using like an IK weapon as you would have in the past, since this is all based around attack speed, you want those hammers smashing as fast as possible. You're going to use Little Rogue and Slanderer here. Now these aren't rolled perfectly. I would want like 10% damage and area damage on both of these. This is the one that I said is an ancient, but I just didn't have one. I actually snagged this up on my support monk and kind of rolled it in a way that I could use it for this. And then for your legendary gems here, you're going to be using Pain Enhancer for that attack speed, Bane of the Trapped because it's pretty standard for most damage builds, and then Bane of the Stricken for the boss kill. And it does shred bosses very quickly. I will post the full 100 run at the end of this guide video, and so that you can see me running through. This would be rolled fire. These are fire now. I'm just grabbing gear where I can off the PTR. So the fire is the elemental damage that you want. You're going to want fire on your amulet and fire on your bracers. In the cube, you have the Gavel of Judgment. This was buffed significantly as well. and the damage of Hammer of the Ancients is increased by 800%, and it returns 25 Fury if it hits 3 or fewer enemies. So you can run out of Fury if you're in a giant pull, and sometimes you want to hop out of there, swing the hammer at a few less mobs, get your Fury back up, and then go back in. Because I have gotten to the point in certain big pulls when I'm pushing my limits with this, where I run completely out of Fury, I'm not attacking, and I die. So you want to be aware of that and keeping your eye on your Fury bar. As I said here, you can take Aquila, or you can take the bracers of the First Men and wear strong arm bracers. It just depends on where your Paragon's at and how you're feeling with damage and survivability. And then also here you have to take the Band of Might. Now they buffed Band of Might in one of the previous PTR cycles, and they've changed the damage reduction from, I think it was at 50 before, and now it's up to 80% damage reduction for 8 seconds after you charge. So you basically have this up all the time because you have Ground Stomp and Charge in your kit. So you're either proccing it with your Ground Stomp or your Charge. But you do want to keep an eye on the buff, as you'll see it down here, and we can set it up. You'll keep your eye on this buff just to make sure it doesn't go down, because if it does go down, you will die. Let's quickly go over the abilities here. So I have Furious Charge, Merciless Assault. This gives you a recharge after you hit enough enemies when you're charging. It's really good to get through bad maps or bad situations so that you can charge multiple times. Your primary damage output is Hammer of the Ancient Smash. This is the fire variation, and you'll want to have this one equipped. Battle Rage Bloodshed. This was reworked during the PTR cycle and is still very, very useful and does lots and lots of damage, so you want to keep it on this build. Ground Stomp, Wrenching Smash pulls all the enemies into you. As this build does utilize area damage, you want as many enemies around you as you can when your fire rolls around on the Convention of the Elements. So you can be in there smashing on a couple mobs, keeping your Fury up, and when fire's going to roll around, pull them all in near the Oculus Ring and then delete everything on the screen around you. Wrath of Berserker Insanity, very standard for all Immortal Kings builds. This is a huge damage buff. It makes you invulnerable to CC, you get movement speed, all kinds of good stuff. And then Call of the Ancients together as one for the damage reduction. Your passive skills here would be Ruthless, Rampage, Berserker Rage, and then Nerves of Steel. You really do want to have Nerves of Steel here because every once in a while you do proc this and you do take a lot of damage, because as I said, in a lot of big pulls you're going to be standing still and just swinging away with the hammer, and if you don't have enough life on Fury spend, every once in a while you will have some issues. I do have issues with some cold and some arcane beams. Arcane beams are such a pain in the ass for this build, so it is good to avoid those, and if you get packs like Horde Arcane, I just skip them altogether. As I said, I'm very, very excited for the barb changes, and this build is a lot of fun, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. I will be posting the 100 here at the end of the video, and I do plan on maining Barb next season, with Barb being standard for Rathma speeds and for meta builds in regards to support. Plus, I'll be leveling a Witch Doctor just because I love Jade so much. I want to do a big shout out to all my new subscribers and all my followers and subs on Twitch. If you have not stopped by the stream, it's twitch.tv/dropadooski. We stream Monday through Saturday, normally around noon up until 7 or 8 p.m. Come on in, hang out with us. We do have a very active Discord community and in-game community called Smoke Break on the North American server, so please feel free to stop by and chat with us or ask questions or anything like that. Once again, thank you guys, and I'm going to post the run now. Peace.